Hello there, and welcome to my channel. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much. Welcome back. Yes, this is Self-Love Synergy. And for the newcomers, here at Self-Love Synergy, I try to inspire people to live a life of abundance, well-being, and prosperity. I believe that we are all intended to live a life of abundance, well-being, and prosperity from the Creator. Now, you're probably wondering, how come everyone isn't living a life of abundance, well-being, and prosperity? Well, I think it's because we don't really understand who we are and the powers that we possess, the unseen powers. And I'm not talking woo-woo. I'm talking about the unseen powers of our thoughts and our feelings and our self-conception of ourselves, our self-belief of ourselves. Yeah, because we don't really know how to use them properly. Well, not really properly. We don't know how to use them in a way that is going to definitely destine us to our life of abundance, well-being, and prosperity. That's why all of us, well, a great majority of us, aren't living that life. But, over here, we're going to find out how to do it. Now, tonight, I want to talk about a gift that every one of us received at birth. And I actually awakened to this gift through my spiritual awakening, but I also read about this gift in a book. And the book was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. For those who don't know who Napoleon Hill is, he lived in the early 1900s, and he was hired by Andrew Carnegie, who was the richest man in America at the time. He was hired to create a practical philosophy of personal success. And he didn't understand why Andrew Carnegie picked him. However, he accepted the challenge and he wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. And that book that he wrote in the 1920s is still a bestseller today in 2025, over 100 years later. So he must have been the right choice. Anyway, in that book, he wrote about a conversation he had with Andrew Carnegie. And he said that Andrew Carnegie spoke to him about a power that all of us possess. We were given it, at birth. And Andrew Carnegie said of this power that this profound power is a gift from the Creator. And it must have been considered the greatest of all of his gifts to mankind, because it is the only thing in which man has complete and unchallengeable right of control and direction. Ooh, that's pretty powerful when you really think of it. Yeah. He goes on and says more. He says, everyone came to the earth plane blessed with the privilege of controlling his mind power, and directing it to whatever ends he may choose. Now you might not think, okay, yeah, we can think our own thoughts, yeah, okay. But it's deep, because if you use that power in the correct way, you are destined for a life of abundance, well-being, and prosperity. However, if you don't use that mind power in the correct way, where you don't really control it, you allow it to go out of control within you, or you allow other people's, opinions to come in and clutter it all up, then you may be destined for a life of lack, disease, and poverty. So let's really get into this mind power that he talked about. He said, he also said, not only did we have that ability, But everyone brings with him the equivalent of 2 sealed envelopes also, because we have the ability to control and direct that mind power. And he says these 2 envelopes, the first envelope is labeled the riches you may enjoy if you take possession of your own mind and direct it to the ends of your own choices. And then the second envelope, it's labeled the penalties you must pay if you neglect to take possession of your own mind and direct it. Now, inside both of those envelopes, there were some contents, 6 things. In the envelope, marked riches, the first thing that was in there of the contents was sound health. The second thing, peace of mind. The third thing, a labor of love of your own choice. Doesn't it sound nice instead of saying a job? A labor of love of your own choice. Ooh, you also get freedom from fear and worry. And you get a positive mental attitude. Bonus, bonus, bonus. And last but not least, you get material riches of your own choice and quantity. Wow. Sound health, peace of mind, a labor of love of your own choice, freedom from fear and worry, a positive mental attitude, and material riches of your own choices and quantity. That sounds like the life of abundance, well-being, and prosperity to me. Now, in the other envelope, the one marked the penalties you must pay if you neglect to take possession of your own mind and direct it. Well, the first of contents in that envelope is ill health. And the second, fear and worry. The third is indecision and doubt. The fourth, frustration and discouragement throughout your whole life. Number 5, poverty and want. And number 6, you'll get a whole flock of evil consisting of envy, greed, jealousy, anger, hatred, and superstition. Isn't that something? That sounds like the life of lack, disease, and poverty to me. It also sounds like the life of a sinner. And yeah, I just want to mention that too. I remember as a little girl in church, the first time that I heard that I was a sinner. I was born a sinner. And I didn't quite understand. I did not understand that at all. But then, they said that we were born we were born into the world of sin. And so that's why we're sinners. Just like if we were born in Canada, we would be Canadians. Or if we were born in America, we'd be Americans. I guess if we were born in the world of sin, we're sinners. But after understanding that, yes, and the fact that we have this mind power, and if we're not using it the correct way, and we're going to be destined to a life of lack, disease, and poverty because we're not using it the right way, maybe that's what he meant by we're sinners, we're born into sin, because we don't know not to sin. It's our nature. We don't understand the power that we have within us. So that's very interesting. And I wanted to bring that up tonight. I don't want to make this video too long. I'll talk more about it, because I mentioned in another video about the ally and the ego. And you see, depending on which nature, which personality, which one you want to be, is going to determine, again, which way you're going to be headed and destined. Either that life of lack, disease, and poverty, or the life of abundance, well-being, and prosperity. And do you know which one will lead you to which life? Yeah, I'll give you a hint. The ego. The ego will lead you to that life of lack, disease, and poverty. And the ally helps you to lead you to the life of abundance, well-being, and prosperity. And that's what I'm going to talk about next, the ego and the ally. But this is all that I have for tonight. So, as usual, you have a good night, and I'm going to have one too.